Rain fell like silver needles through the towering trees of the jungle moon HFY, drumming on the metallic hulls of patrol drones and soaking the mossy underbrush. It was dusk, and the light filtering through the canopy carried an eerie green hue. Lieutenant Jace Ryker, combat exobiologist of the Galactic Front, crouched beside a steaming patch of earth where something massive had recently passed. He pressed 2 fingers to the still warm claw marks etched deep into a tree trunk, his brows knitting. "Fresh. Real fresh," he muttered. His voice was calm, but his hand moved automatically to the sidearm holstered at his hip. Something out here was watching. Behind him, the jungle whispered. Then came a low growl, a sound so deep it vibrated in Jace's chest. He turned slowly. 2 sapphire eyes glowed from the underbrush, and out stepped a predator that looked ripped from a nightmare. 10 feet of muscle, claws like daggers, and shimmering azure fur that reflected the moonlight like wet glass. It was the Var'kesh, the apex predator of HFY. Unkillable, untrainable, untouchable. Jace didn't run. He didn't flinch. He dropped to one knee, eyes steady, palms open. The Var'kesh growled again, its tail swaying in sharp arcs. Then it did something no one had ever reported. It's Saturday. The first time Alari saw a human, she was unimpressed. A little amused, maybe. The way they strutted around like they'd mastered the galaxy. Her people, the Serene, had lived in harmony with nature for over 6,000 years. They didn't need weapons. They didn't wage war. And they certainly didn't try to tame the planet's most dangerous creature. So when her commander sent her to oversee the human liaison team, Alari assumed it was punishment. Babysitting hairless apes with an overinflated sense of importance. Great. That was before she saw Jace Ryker. Not because of his looks, though his rugged face and confident stance would make most Serene females do a double take. No, what struck her was the fact that he wasn't dead. He stood in the clearing, rain soaking his clothes, one hand resting on the head of the Var'kesh. It wasn't chained. It wasn't drugged. It wasn't even angry. It purred. Alari's jaw dropped. "You tamed our apex predator?" Jace barely glanced at her. "He chose me." Word spread fast. Faster than lightspeed comms. Within hours, researchers, military advisors, and alien dignitaries flooded the edge of the Serene Preserve. Everyone wanted a look at the human who'd befriended death incarnate. But not all were pleased. General Kale, a Serene elder with storm-grey eyes and a deep distrust of humanity, paced the council chamber. "This cannot be allowed to continue. The Var'kesh is sacred. A guardian spirit. Taming it defiles the balance." "He didn't tame it," Alari said again. She'd been repeating that sentence all day. "He bonded with it. There's a difference." Kale slammed a fist on the table. "There is no difference in the eyes of the beast." The council was divided. Half wanted Jace studded. The other half wanted him gone. And in the middle of it all, Jace stayed with the Var'kesh, whom he'd named Ghost. He didn't speak much. Just listened. Observed. Moved through the jungle with Ghost like they were made of the same breath. One night, Alari found herself drawn to his camp. She didn't know why. Curiosity, maybe. Or a sense that something was about to break. Jace sat by the fire, Ghost curled nearby like a massive blue shadow. He looked up as she approached. "Couldn't sleep." "You don't belong here." He shrugged. "I know. So why are you still here?" He stirred the fire with a stick. "The first time I saw him, I thought I was going to die. But he looked at me like he was waiting for something. Like I wasn't a threat. Or a meal. Just a question." She tilted her head. "And did you answer it?" "Not yet." The next day, things exploded. A rogue drone, likely sent by one of the anti-human factions, entered the preserve perimeter. It scanned Jace and Ghost, then fired a stun round. The dart hit Ghost in the flank. The jungle erupted. Ghost roared loud enough to shake the trees and leapt onto the drone before it could retreat. Metal tore like paper. Circuits fizzled. Jace didn't move. He didn't scream or run. He simply placed a hand on Ghost's side and whispered something no one else could hear. Ghost stopped. The jungle went silent. Within the hour, Military enforcement arrived. They demanded Ghost be taken into custody for threat assessment. Jace stood in front of him. "You're not taking him." Alari stepped forward, her voice steady. "He saved lives. He de-escalated what could have been a bloodbath. And your drone violated the peace pact." Kale stepped out from the shadows. "Then let the human prove his worth. Let him face the trial of the beast." Everyone froze. Alari's eyes widened. "That's a death sentence. No one survives that trial." Kale smiled coldly. "Then he has nothing to fear." Jace simply nodded. "I'll do it. On one condition." Kale narrowed his eyes. "Which is?" "Ghost comes with me." Alari found him later, sharpening his knife. "You're insane." He looked up. "Maybe." She sat beside him. "You don't have to prove anything. Not to them. Not to me." Jace looked at her, eyes tired. "This isn't about proving. It's about protecting." Silence settled between them, thick with unspoken thoughts. Then she said softly, "Come back alive. Both of you." He smiled. "That's the plan." The trial of the beast wasn't a game. It wasn't a ritual. It was a gauntlet of traps, hostile wildlife, and the worst terrain HFY could offer. It had claimed the lives of warriors, hunters, even serene elites. The next morning, as the twin suns rose, Jace and Ghost entered the jungle together. And the jungle waited. The jungle swallowed them whole. The moment Jace and Ghost stepped beyond the ceremonial threshold, the lush terrain shifted, as if HFY itself was watching. Thick vines hung like serpents, mist curled around their feet, and the air pulsed with an ancient rhythm. This was no ordinary forest. This was the trial of the beast, a place engineered by time and nature to test not just strength, but spirit. Jace moved carefully, eyes scanning the underbrush, every sense on high alert. Ghost padded beside him silently, a ghostly warden draped in blue flame. The bond between them had grown wordless, instinctive. Where one moved, the other followed. Where one paused, the other listened. 3 hours in, the first trap sprang. A burst of darts shot from a log, whistling toward Jace's chest. Ghost snarled, leaping in front of him. The darts hit his shoulder, but they bounced harmlessly off thick fur. Ghost growled low and crushed the log trap beneath a massive paw. Jace let out a breath. "Guess they really don't want us walking out of here." Ghost flicked his tail, like he understood. Back at the serene enclave, Alari stood on the balcony of the watchtower, eyes locked on the forest canopy. She could feel something in her gut, tension twisting like a knot. The elders murmured behind her, placing silent bets on the human's failure. Kale's voice cut through the noise. "He'll be bones by morning." Alari didn't turn. "You think this forest belongs to you. But it never has. It chooses. And it chose him." Kale chuckled darkly. "Then it's more broken than I thought." The sun dipped low, shadows stretching long and sharp. Jace wiped sweat from his brow. The terrain had shifted to marshland, every step sinking into muck. Ghost treaded more lightly, careful not to disturb nests hidden in the moss. A high-pitched screech sliced the air. From the trees, the Arashi dropped, 6-legged raptor bats with venomous talons and hunger in their eyes. One dove for Jace. He rolled aside, drawing his blade. Ghost lunged into the pack with a roar, swatting 2 out of the sky. Jace stood back to back with him, slicing at wings, dodging claws. The fight was brutal, chaotic, beautiful in its violence. Jace wasn't the fastest, or the strongest, but he was unbreakable. Focused. And Ghost, the living thunder, moved like a divine weapon unleashed. Blood stained the mud. Feathers fell like ash. Then it was quiet again. Jace fell to his knees, breathing hard. "Tell me that's the worst of it." Ghost grunted and licked his own wounds, eyes glinting like twin stars. By nightfall, the forest turned alien. Bioluminescent vines pulsed with an eerie glow. Fungal pods the size of hounds throbbed as if breathing. And deeper in, the terrain shifted again, rocky cliffs that cut the stars with jagged teeth. It was there they met the Whispering Stone. A relic older than the Serene. A monolith etched with shifting symbols. Ghost stopped before it, his fur bristling. Jace felt it too. Pressure. A humming in his bones. He stepped forward and the monolith lit up. A voice, ancient and layered, filled the air. Not heard, but felt. The bond is real. Jace blinked. What the hell? Two made one. Predator and prey. Flesh and spirit. Pass, or be undone. The jungle trembled. Behind them, trees cracked. Something enormous stirred. Jace turned. And saw it. A second Var'kesh. But larger. Meaner. With scars like war paint and eyes like frozen hell. Ghost stepped forward, snarling. The alpha Var'kesh lunged. The battle was cataclysmic. Jace barely dodged as the two titans collided. Claws clashed, teeth snapped. Ghost fought with precision, fluid, brutal. But the alpha had weight, experience. Every blow shook the ground. Jace didn't just stand there. He circled the edge, watching, learning. Then he saw it, a weak leg on the alpha. Old injury. When it shifted left, it exposed the flank. Jace sprinted in. He dove beneath a swing of the alpha's tail and drove his blade deep into the exposed side. The alpha howled in fury. Ghost seized the moment. He leapt, teeth sinking into the alpha's throat. It took a full minute, but the monster fell. Dead. The jungle sighed. The monolith flared. Trial complete. Jace collapsed beside Ghost, both of them bloody, exhausted. Morning light filtered through the trees as they returned. Jace rode on Ghost's back, the beast carrying him like a knight returning from war. The Sirene stood in stunned silence. Even Kale. Alari ran to them. Jace smiled weakly. Miss me? She didn't answer. She just hugged him. Tight. Ghost purred. Kale stepped forward. You cheated death. But not balance. The forest chose. We cannot deny it. Alari turned to him. Then let it be known. The Var'kesh has a new tribe. And his name is Jace Ryker. But far above the planet, in the shadows of a cloaked dreadnought, another set of eyes watched the transmission. A cold, calculating voice crackled through the dark. Prepare the harvesters. If a human can control a Var'kesh, we need to know how. 1,000 miles away, Jace slept beside his beast. Unaware of what was coming next. The silence of dawn was broken by the low hum of energy fields rippling through the atmosphere. Jace Ryker stood at the edge of a cliff near the Sirene enclave, Ghost beside him, tail flicking uneasily. For a moment, everything was still. Birds cried out from treetop nests. Water shimmered in the distance. Then the sky cracked. A beam of blue light sliced down from orbit, and the clouds churned into a cyclone. The jungle roared in protest. Jace grabbed the comm at his hip, barking, Alari, talk to me. What the hell is that? Static answered him first. Then her voice came through, tight, sharp. Orbital breach. Unknown vessel, cloaked until it fired. We have incoming. Jace didn't hesitate. He leapt onto Ghost's back and raced toward the enclave. At the council chamber, panic had erupted. The elders screamed at each other over the blare of evacuation sirens. Alari pushed through the crowd, her voice like steel. We need a defense perimeter now. Mobilize every Guardian unit. Prioritize the hatchlings and the healers, get them into the caverns. Kale stood in the center of the chaos, strangely calm. There is no protocol for this. She snapped at him, then make one. Jace and Ghost burst into the chamber moments later, dirt and rain streaking their faces. What are we up against? Jace demanded. Alari turned to a holographic display. They call themselves the Van Dominion. Bioharvesters. They target apex species. Extract DNA. Convert them into war beasts. Jace's stomach dropped. Ghost. Alari nodded. Here's the reason they're here. The jungle shuddered as dark pods rained from the sky, slamming into the soil with seismic force. Each one cracked open to reveal armored Van soldiers, twice the size of humans, insectoid in structure, and ruthless in action. They came in swarms, marching in precise, terrifying silence. Their weapons pulsed with green plasma. They didn't just kill. They harvested. Slicing through trees, scanning fauna, capturing apex predators in cages of light. Jace watched a pack of razorbacks, a species feared by even the Var'kesh, get paralyzed and sucked into a harvester pod. Not today, he growled. He leapt off Ghost and launched a grenade from his belt. The pod erupted in fire, scattering pieces of alien tech across the mossy ground. Ghost charged, claws tearing through foot soldiers. His roar echoed for miles. Meanwhile, in the underground refuge, the Syrian children huddled together as tremors shook the stone walls. One small girl looked up at her mother. "Is the blue beast going to save us?" The mother smiled, trying to hide her fear. "Yes. The beast, and the man who walks with him." Jace was bleeding. 3 plasma rounds had grazed his side. His left arm was nearly numb. But he didn't stop. Ghost was a whirlwind beside him, faster, meaner, smarter than any machine. But there were too many. Every time one wave fell, another took its place. A massive Varn enforcer dropped from the sky. 12 feet tall. Reinforced exoskeleton. It scanned Ghost. Target confirmed. Subject: Alpha Var'kesh. Begin acquisition. The enforcer launched an energy tether at Ghost. It latched around his neck, yanking him to the ground. He howled in rage. Jace didn't think. He sprinted across the battlefield and launched himself at the enforcer's back, driving his blade deep into a control node. Sparks exploded. The tether flickered. Ghost, now. The beast broke free and leapt, tearing the enforcer in two. But victory came at a price. More pods dropped. This time, they didn't send soldiers. They sent copies. Hulking, grotesque versions of native predators, cloned, twisted, wired with control implants. Ghost stared in disbelief as a malformed Var'kesh charged them. It looked like him, but empty. Rabid. Wired like a puppet. Jace whispered, "They're using your DNA." Ghost snarled. The clone leapt. The fight was brutal. Savage. And it wasn't one-on-one. 4 of the clones surrounded them. One clamped its jaws on Ghost's hind leg. Another slammed Jace against a tree. He blacked out for a second. Then a voice cut through the noise. Alari. She flew down from the trees on a glider, twin energy blades in hand. "I told you not to die without me." She sliced into one of the clones, opening its spine. Ghost crushed another with a tail swipe. Jace stood, coughing blood. "Took you long enough." She smirked. "Had to make an entrance." Together, they took the clones down. Barely. Back at the enclave, the elders gathered again. Kale faced them. "The humans fight like animals. They fight with rage. But they also fight with heart." He gestured to the battlefield feed. "If we don't stand with them now, we lose everything." The Syrian warriors, once hesitant, now volunteered in droves. Spearbearers. Wind callers. Beast bonded. The jungle was ready to fight back. Night fell again. This time, fire lit the trees. The Varn had brought in their real weapon, a behemoth extractor platform, landing on top of the jungle canopy. Its roots punched into the ground, draining the very life from the planet. And tethered beneath it was a captured Var'kesh matriarch. Ghost froze when he saw her. Jace looked at him. "Your mother." Ghost let out a low, mournful rumble. The final stand was about to begin. Jace, Alari, Ghost, and the newly unified Syrian resistance stood at the edge of the burning trees. The extractor loomed above, humming with power. Jace turned to the others. "This isn't just about saving one beast. Or one forest. This is about telling the galaxy, you don't get to rewrite nature. You don't get to own what was never yours." He looked at Ghost. "You ready?" Ghost growled softly. Alari put a hand on Jace's shoulder. "Let's go finish what you started." And with that, they charged into the fire. To be continued in Section 4. Fire swallowed the night. The jungle screamed as ancient trees toppled beneath the mechanical roots of the Varn extractor. Red-hot vines snapped and sizzled. Ash filled the air. And at the heart of it all, tethered beneath the massive platform, the matriarch Var'kesh let out a mournful, haunting cry. Jace Ryker heard it from half a mile away. So did Ghost. He crouched low beside his partner, one hand gripping his rifle, the other clenched over a wound still leaking blood. Alari, soot-streaked and fierce, landed beside him, breath ragged. Our teams are in position. We have one shot at this. Jace nodded. Then let's make it count. He looked at Ghost. The beast's eyes burned with sorrow and fury. Let's go get your mother. They moved like shadows through the smoke. The Serene warriors attacked from the flanks, launching precise strikes, disabling Varn units with energy nets and spear barrages. Above, glide wings dove in formation, dropping EMP bursts to disrupt the extractor's defenses. Jace and Ghost headed straight for the platform's core. The closer they got, the louder the hum of the extraction field. It vibrated through their bones. It was alive, sucking the life force from everything nearby: plants, animals, even the air itself. Then the final guardian stepped into their path. Another clone. But this one wasn't like the others. It was a perfect replica of Ghost. Bigger. Faster. Enhanced. A twisted echo of him, programmed with one mission: kill the original. Ghost growled. Jace whispered, "I've got your back." And the battle began. Claws clashed like thunder. Roars split the smoke. The two Var'kesh circled and lunged, teeth flashing, tails whipping. Ghost was fighting for more than survival. He was fighting for his mother. For his people. For his human. Jace watched for the opening. He saw it, just for a second. The clone faltered. Jace fired. A bolt of energy slammed into the control implant embedded in the clone's spine. It short-circuited, sending the beast into spasms. Ghost didn't hesitate. He struck one final time, biting through its throat. The clone collapsed. They didn't stop. At the extractor's core, a console pulsed with blue light. Jace ran to it, slamming his stolen Varn wrist module against the interface. "Come on, come on." The system chirped. Foreign symbols scrambled. Alari appeared beside him, hacking a secondary terminal. "We need to deactivate the tether field. Now." The matriarch groaned above them. Her breath was shallow. Jace found the control code. Entered it. The tethers retracted. The matriarch dropped heavily to the ground, and Ghost rushed to her side, nuzzling her face gently. She blinked at him, slowly, her breathing evening out. But the extractor wasn't finished. Self-destruct protocols initiated. A timer blinked to life, **60 seconds. Alari swore. "We won't make it out in time." Jace looked at the matriarch. Then at Ghost. Then at the extractor's central processor. "Yes, we will. I'm staying." Alari's eyes widened. "No. No, Jace." He smiled at her, tired but sure. "You said it yourself. This thing feeds on life. Maybe it's time it tasted sacrifice." He pulled a power cell from his belt. Plugged it into the console. The countdown began to glitch. Alari stared at him, tears brimming. "You don't have to be the hero." He stepped close. Touched her face. "I'm not. I'm just part of the pack." He turned to Ghost. "Take her. Get out." Ghost let out a low, rumbling growl of protest. Jace locked eyes with him. "Please." And Ghost understood. He roared one last time and bolted, carrying the matriarch and Alari in his wake. Jace watched them disappear into the smoke. Then he turned to the console, and drove his blade into the core. White light swallowed everything. A week later, the jungle began to heal. The extractor was gone. Vaporized in a blast that somehow, miraculously, left the canopy untouched. A pulse of energy had rippled across the region, wiping every trace of Varn tech from the soil. Jace Ryker was gone. But his story was not. Alari stood at the ceremonial stone, surrounded by both Serene and humans. Ghost sat beside her, the matriarch behind them, towering but serene. She held a smooth black stone in her palm etched with the mark of the beast. "He wasn't born here. He didn't belong to our stars. But in our darkest hour, he became one of us. He taught us that strength is not control. That courage is not domination." She looked out at the crowd. "He reminded us of something we'd forgotten, that the strongest bonds are not built with chains, but with trust." She placed the stone at the base of the whispering tree. Ghost let out a quiet, mournful sound. And from the canopy above, birds began to sing. Far above the planet, among the debris field where the Varn dreadnought had once floated, a single black box blinked with a soft red light. Inside, one message, endlessly looping. Not all beasts need taming. Some just need a reason to fight beside you. Moral true strength doesn't come from power or control. It comes from understanding, trust, and the willingness to stand together even when it means making the ultimate sacrifice. The end.